It's time to close out the 2019 part of the season, and now let's get into the 2020 part of the season. Anyway, it's time for another episode of Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to another episode of my Calgary Flames at 6 here. As you know, we're in season 2. We're up to episode number 8 here, and you could say we're at the halfway point of the season here. As almost fitting here, the 2019 part of the 2019-20 season is now over. Now we'll be looking at the 2020 part of the season here, as you know, as recording this, we're entering into 2020 now, believe it or not. And in this episode, we'll be talking about games 37 to 42 here, and to close up 2019 here, and the Flames have been up and down here these past 6 games, and you know, last couple games they got themselves in an early hole and couldn't get out of it after a slow start there, and definitely learning that playing catch up is a tough thing to do in this league, and hopefully that's something they can fix as we go into 2020 here. So bring them notes here, and let's take a look at how the last 6 games have went for the Calgary Flames here. And I'm going to say they're definitely got some work to do to get back into the playoff hunt here. So let's start off. This happened, game 37. This happened on Thursday, December the 19th here, as the Calgary Flames were taking on the Montreal Canadiens. That was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome here, and actually in this game here, Calgary actually started off with a couple goals in the first period here. Matthew Tkachuk first scored the opening goal here. In this case, can't quite call him Mr. Clutch here, but you know, past the 7.5 minute mark, and then Elias Lindholm actually scored with 8 seconds to go in the first period there. So Calgary had a 2-0 lead after the first period in this game. However, despite the fact that Calgary had the first 2 goals in this game, they were outshot by Montreal, which was definitely the case here. So the Montreal Canadiens did outplay Calgary in this whole game here. And in the second period here, Montreal actually did come back here on a couple goals of their own here. First goal by Montreal was Brendan Gallagher to get them on the board, brought the midway point of the second period here, and Joel Armagna, 3.5 minutes later, ties it. And actually on that Joel Armagna goal, the Calgary Flames did challenge the play on an offside there, but they lost the challenge there. So it was 2-2, and it was 2-2 for both sides after 2 periods here. Third period, while both teams looked even here, and Calgary actually was able to regain the lead here, as Oliver Shillington got his first goal of the season here, just before around the 6.5 minute mark of the third period here. However, it was Nick Suzuki for Montreal here that ties the game at 3-3 just before the 12-minute mark of the third period. And then, as I always say, this one needed overtime here. And in overtime here, Montreal definitely had the stronger play continuing. And it was Max Domi for Montreal at the 3:52 minute mark of overtime. Scores the winner here, and Montreal takes this game 4-3 in overtime here. Montreal also outshot the Calgary Flames 43-27 this game, including 6-3 in the overtime period here. And Calgary also, or Montreal I should say in this case, also won the giveaway takeaway battle here. So we can probably say maybe we were lucky to get a point out of this one. Calgary was led by Matthew Tkachuk and Elias Lindholm. Each had a goal and assist in this game, and then Johnny Gaudreau actually chipped in with 2 assists here. The only player for Montreal that actually had a multi-point game here, as everything was spread around in the 4 goals here, was Archie Lekowen, who had 2 assists, but as I mentioned, other than the goal scorers here, there were many assists to go around here. Dave Riddick, he definitely had a strong game for Calgary. He made 39 saves for Calgary. Well, it's Carey Price for Montreal. He only needed to make 24 saves for Montreal there. So that wraps up the homestand there that the Calgary Flames had. And then they had 2 games and 2 nights here just before Christmas here. So they had a few days off before game 38. This happened on Sunday, December the 22nd here, as we were taking on the Dallas Stars at the American Airlines Arena here. And you can say this is another battle of 2 teams that had to make a shocking coaching change here, although we still haven't figured out exactly what was the unprofessional conduct for the Dallas Stars part with Jim Montgomery, but that's one sidebar for this game. So it was the first of 2 games on back-to-back nights just for Christmas here, and the first period both teams looked strong and each got a goal actually quickly past the 12-minute mark here. First it was Andrew Mangiapane that scored for Calgary to give Calgary a 1-0 lead here. However, it was 38 seconds later Dan Askaranoff who ties it up for Dallas here. So we had a 1-1 game here, and it was 1-1 after the first period there. Second period, the Calgary took advantage of a couple of Dallas penalties here as they got a couple of power play goals here. First, Matthew Tkachuk, actually this was his 14th goal at the time here, to make it 2-1 here past the 12-minute mark of the second period here to give Calgary a lead. And then Sean Monahan, actually this was his 11th, a couple minutes later. So Calgary had a 3-1 lead, and it was 3-1 for Calgary after the second period there. Third period was highlighted with some rough stuff first, as Radek Faska and Rasmus Anderson took some roughing penalties here, and also Andrew Cogliano took a slash penalty. He did Steve Riddick here. As a result of that, actually Calgary was able to pick up a power play here, and once again took advantage here as Michael Backlund scores on that power play a minute later after the rough stuff. Excuse me. So now Calgary had a 4-1 lead here, so Calgary was definitely looking great here in Dallas here. And then Derek Ryan adds another one in the empty netter where there were still 2 minutes to go in the third period here, so Calgary took this one 5-1, and we definitely dominated the Dallas Stars here. Calgary also shot the Dallas Stars 30-27 here. Who led the way for Calgary? Well, Matthew Tkachuk had a goal and 2 assists in this game, as well as Elias Lindholm. He actually chipped in for 3 assists here, so both Tkachuk and Lindholm once again connected on big plays. Both had 3-point games here. Sean Monahan and David Ryan each had a goal and assist there as well to chip in. So when it comes to the goaltending situation here, well, Dave Riddick, who was starting for Calgary, made 26 saves, while Ben Bishop, he made 25 saves for Dallas here. And also to note here that, in case we get tied with them in standings here, the Flames actually had the season series as their barring playoffs were done playing for Dallas for the season, as Calgary had a 2-1 series lead here. So something to keep in mind for a tiebreak. So the next night here, game 39, this will be the last game before Christmas here. This happened on Monday, December 23rd, as the Calgary Flames were taking on the Minnesota Wild, and that's one of the teams that we're definitely going to have to watch in the standings here. And actually, we've got a couple games against Minnesota here in the new year, as it's the second back-to-back nights, and I said watching the standings here. There was no scoring in the first period, but Minnesota definitely looked like they were the better team, and they did so for the whole game here, for the most part. Second period, Minnesota continued their strong play, and they got their rewarded with a couple goals in the first half of the second period here. First, it was Joel Harrison Eck for the Minnesota Wild that scored just before the 5-minute mark, and then Luke Kuhn just before the 10-minute mark. So Minnesota had a 2-0 lead, and it was 2-0 for the Minnesota Wild after the second period there. Third period, it looked like both teams were playing it out. As I was saying, it was last game night before Christmas here, and eventually it was Eric Stahl who put in the empty net there with past the 17-minute mark, and Minnesota actually took this one 3-0 here. So Calgary had another game here where they got shut out here, and Minnesota also shot the Calgary Flames here 34-22 here. Luke Kunin was the only multi-point game with this one. He had a goal and assist here. And then when it comes to goaltending here, it was no surprise that we actually went to Cam Talbot here. He made 31 saves for the Calgary Flames, while Devin Dubnyk for the Minnesota Wild, he made 22 saves in the shutout here. It always seems like the case when Cam Talbot comes in, he actually plays well. Because later in this video, I'll actually go over some standings here. There's been a few games where Cam Talbot's played in and has played well, but getting no goal support there. So that was the Calgary Flames right for Christmas here. And then game 40, it's happened on Friday, December the 27th here, and you could say was one of the more anticipated Battle of Albertas we've had in a while here, just for all the off-season player movement, where there were a few players that switched sides here just this off-season here, and this was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Rogers Place here, and Calgary got off very early as Andrew Mangiapane scored his 8th goal here just 11 seconds in to set the tone here. So Calgary already had an early 1-0 here. And Matthew Tkachuk, who makes it 2-0 here past the 11.5-minute mark, so Calgary had a 2-0 lead here. However, it was Connor McDavid who scored actually his 22nd goal of the season, three minutes later, so to put Edmonton on the board. But Calgary had a 2-1 lead going into the first intermission here. Second period, well, Calgary continued their trend of scoring early, as it was Sean Monahan's 12th, who scored for Calgary just past the opening minute of the second period here. So it was 3-1 for the Calgary Flames here. And then Elias Lindholm got his 16th to put Calgary up 4-1 here. However, this was late in the second period here, just past the 17-minute mark. So Calgary had a 4-1 lead after the second period here over Edmonton, and definitely Calgary was having it their way with Edmonton here. Third period, Calgary got another goal. To continue the theme here, in the opening minute of the period here, as it was Michael Backlund who actually got his 5th goal of the season, which worked out to be the 5th goal for the Calgary Flames this game, and it was 5-1 here. And the first Battle of Alberta went to these guys here, the Calgary Flames, as they won a convincing game 5-1 here. So also to note here, there were no former Oilers or Flames that played a big role in this game. That was probably one thing that'd be a little disappointing in this game. Although one former player actually did play a role in this game, but not a major role here, as we'll find out here. Calgary did outshoot the Edmonton Oilers 31-29 in this one. Calgary was led while Andrew Mangiapane had a goal and 2 assists here. Elias Lindholm and TJ Brodie each had a goal and assist, or Elias Lindholm had a goal and assist, and TJ Brodie chipped in with 2 assists there. Dave Riddick, who wasn't getting net for Calgary, made 28 saves for Calgary. While it was Mikko Koskinen who started the net for Edmonton. He made 20 saves there, but after the 4th goal, he was pulled for Mike Smith, the former Flame. This was the only former Flame Oiler that actually made an impact in this game. Mike Smith came in after the Calgary 4th goal, and he only made 6 saves for Edmonton there. So at least we took the first Battle of Alberta here, very convincingly here. So then here we are up to game 41. This happened on Sunday, December 29th here, as the Calgary Flames were back at home to take on the Vancouver Canucks. It was a 7:30 puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome here, and Vancouver is also in the hunt in the playoff race and the Pacific Division title here. And now we are in the last 2 games here. Both will kind of have a similar theme to it to start here, as Vancouver actually started off strong as they got their first 2 goals early, both by defenseman Tyler Myers. He was one of the big signings that the Vancouver Canucks made in the offseason here. Not because he was a very tall, stocky defenseman here, but he definitely found he's not known as an offensive defenseman here, but in this game he got 2 goals here early at the 3.5 minute and the 6 minute mark. So 6.5 minutes in, Tyler Myers already made 2-0 for Vancouver here. Then on a Matthew Tkachuk penalty, it was former Calgary hitting Jake Virtanen on the power play that scores just before the 11-minute mark. So Vancouver takes a 3-0 lead here, and that actually chased out Dave Riddick there as he started this game, and Cam Talbot took over here as I said, Vancouver had a 3-0 lead after 1, and they're also in the Pacific Division race here, believe it or not here. Second period here, things did settle down offensively, but you always expect a battle of the sides because there were definitely a lot more penalties here in the second period here, but nothing too outrageous to highlight here. Calgary was able to get one, but it wasn't until the 18.5 minute mark where defenseman Rasmus Anderson scores for Calgary, and Vancouver still had a 3-1 lead at the second period. One sidebar we can mention on here is that remember when we traded Sven Mania to Vancouver and we got that second round draft pick? That's who was that second round draft pick was spent on, was Rasmus Anderson. And you could say we won that trade because Sven Berchi has been having concussion problems here. So Calgary, going into the third period, looked like they picked up their play here and looked like they wanted to get back in this one. But however, it was Tanner Pearson that scores to make it 4-1 for Vancouver past the 6-minute mark, and that felt like a dagger. It was definitely a big swing moment in the game there, as it gave Vancouver once again a 3-goal lead here. Both teams got a goal here in the final minute of the game here. It was Noah Hannafin that actually first scored at the final minute mark, but it was Tanner Pearson that got the empty netter in the final 30 seconds of the game here. So Vancouver, they took this one 5-2 here. They split the season series here after a quick start. Vancouver also did outshoot the Calgary Flames 28-25 here. Calgary was still led by Matthew Tkachuk. He chipped in with 2 assists here. How about Vancouver? Both Tyler Myers and Tanner Pearson each had 2 goals and assist there. Jake Breton, the former Calgary Hitman, he had a goal and assist there. And Bo Horvat chipped in with 2 assists here. When it comes to the goaltending, well, Dave Riddick did start in net, but he only made 4 saves there. He allowed 3 goals there on 7 shots. And then Cam Talbot came in and he made 19 saves there. So Cam Talbot played well when he played the rest of the way here. And it was Thatcher Demko. We could have drafted him over Mason McDonald in 2014. He was in net for Vancouver. He made 23 saves there. So that was game 41. Tough loss there after a big win against Edmonton. Well, every win against Edmonton is always big. And Edmonton is another team that is also in the thick of things, but they've been trending down a little. But game 42, this happened on Tuesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve here. You're thinking this is a team that's below us in the standings and not able to get caught up in the playoff race here. However, and at the Scotiabank Saddledome 7 p.m. puck drop here. However, for the second straight game, the Calgary Flames got behind early here. This time it was Oli Mata for the Chicago Blackhawks. Opens up the score for Chicago 4 minutes in, and now it's DeBrincat, one of their top players, makes it 2-0 here a minute and a half later. And then Patrick Kane, one of their top snipers. He's been on a great scoring pace here. Makes it 3-0 for Chicago past the 12.5-minute mark, and Chicago had a 3-0 lead after the first period, so things were looking good. And Calgary once again was forced to play catch-up here, assuming they wanted to win this game. Calgary did look better after the first period, but it was Chicago that added another one. So Chicago was able to add another goal here. It was Dylan Strome that scored about the midway point of the second period here. So it's 4-0 Chicago there. But Calgary was finally able to get on the board here, but it wasn't until it was 6 seconds to go into the second period here when Sam Bennett scored. So it was 4-1 Chicago after the second period here. However, the third period, the Flames actually did press back here and was able to make a game out of it to get within 1 late here. First, it was Michael Frolik that scored for the Calgary Flames, but it wasn't until the 15.5-minute mark, and then Sean Monahan scored just a minute later. So next thing you know, it was 4-3 now for Chicago. And then just under 3.5 minutes left though, so we had 3.5 minutes to get the tying goal here. However, Calgary wasn't able to get the equalizer, and it was Patrick Kane for Chicago who put it in the empty net with literally a second left here. So Chicago took this one 5-3 here, and unfortunately, once again, a slow first period bit us in the end of the day here. For the second straight game, hopefully this will be something we can work on as we now enter into 2020 here. Calgary did outshoot the Chicago Blackhawks 44-33 in this game. Chicago, well, they were led by Patrick Kane here. He got 2 goals and 2 assists here. Oli Mata, Alex DeBrincat, and Dylan Strome, all goal scorers, had a goal and assist each in this game. And Dylan Sakura, who also chipped in with 2 assists for Chicago here. It was Dave Riddick who made 28 saves for Calgary, so he was in net for the whole game here. Well, it was Robin Leonard, who had a very strong game for Chicago. He made 41 saves there, so Calgary definitely has their work cut out for them because as we enter into 2020 here, the Calgary Flames they have 20 wins, 17 losses, and 5 overtime shootout losses to give them 45 points in the standings here. It puts us 5th in the Pacific Division, which unfortunately puts us 1 point out of the final playoff spot here. So we're entering 2020 just outside the playoff spot here. However, you could say it's not all bad here because we're still only 5 points behind the Vegas Golden Knights for the division lead there, and we're also in the thick of it with Arizona and Vancouver and Edmonton. So fortunately, the Pacific Division is one of the weaker divisions in the league here. However, it's wide open. And I think if the Calgary Flames can still maintain the pace that they've set out for themselves, especially with all that's gone on this season, I think we should still rally and make the playoffs here. One thing I would definitely say, if we make the playoffs, one spot we should try to avoid is the second wildcard spot here, because if we get the second wildcard, we would have to take on St. Louis or Colorado in the first round, and I don't think that'd be a good matchup for us right now. So other news here, Matthew Tkachuk and Mark Giordano actually got named to the All-Star game for the Pacific Division, Team All-Stars, and if you care about the All-Star game, but Matthew Tkachuk actually will get to play home for the All-Star game here. I just say it's a glorified 3-on-3 pond hockey tournament here, but when the All-Star game comes and goes, I'll do what I did last year, as we'll cover the skills competition and what happened in the All-Star game when the time comes here. So let's see, in this episode here, let's also just quickly go over some player stats here. I feel that last year I did that too much and got too redundant to do it every episode here, but I think we're at the halfway point of the season here. Let's go over some player stats here for the Calgary Flames here. So when it comes to points here in the top 5 here, well, Matthew Tkachuk leads the team with 36 points here, followed by Sean Monahan, who's second with 33. Elias Lindholm and Johnny Gaudreau each are tied for third with 31 points on the team. And it was Derek Ryan who's actually fifth on the team with 20 points there. So that's our leading point getters. So when it comes to goal getters for the team, well, Elias Lindholm leads the Flames with 16 goals here. Second in scoring and goals is 15 goals for Matthew Tkachuk. Sean Monahan is third with 13. Johnny Gaudreau is fourth with 10 here, and Andrew Mangiapane rounds at the top 5 with 8 goals here. So when it comes to assists here, both Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau tied with 21 each. Sean Monahan's third with 20 assists here. Elias Lindholm and Mark Giordano are tied for fourth around the top 5 with 15 assists each here. So if you care about plus minus here, well, Derek Ryan is the leader at plus 7, and TJ Brody is plus 5, and then Sam Bennett is plus 3, and then you got a bunch of players with plus or minus 1 here. And then power play goals, well, Elias Lindholm has 6 power play goals to lead the team here. Sean Monahan second with 4, and then Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau each have 3 assists each here, or 3 power play goals each here. And when it comes to shorties, well, Derek Ryan, Michael Frolik, Tobias Reeder, and Michael Backlund each have a shorthanded goal this season, so we have 4. And then I'm looking at ice time. Mark Giordano leads the way. He actually recently 24 minutes 20 seconds here, and then Noah Hanifin is second with 21 minutes 26 seconds, and then Travis Hamonic exactly 21 minutes here, and then Elias Lindholm with 19 minutes 35 seconds to lead the way in the forwards here, and then TJ Brody runs the top 5 in ice time with 19 minutes 32 seconds here. So and then face-off win percentage, well, both Sean Monahan and Derek Ryan each have over 50%. Sean Monahan 52.94, and then Derek Ryan 50.21 there. So when it comes to the goaltending here, well, Dave Riddick overall here, he has in 32 games he's 17, 10, and 5 with a 278 goals against average and a 912 save percentage, and he has 2 shutouts here. And then looking at Cam Talbot here, in 12 games, I mean, he's 3 and 7. But I can highlight that couple of games he was in, he didn't get much goal support here. His goals against average is pretty good at 273. Well, his save percentage is 915, so I mean, it's pretty good for a backup goalie here. So that's just definitely some player stats here. To look at team stats here, well, Calgary is 18th in power play at 18.7% here. Edmonton actually leads the way with 30.2% on the power play here. I guess when you have Draisaitl and McDavid there, that will help. When it comes to the penalty kill, actually Calgary's 4th in the league at 83.8%. Is the San Jose Sharks that leads the league in penalty killing with 87.9% here. Shots per game here, I think this is definitely where we're taking a hit here. The Calgary Flames are 22nd in the league, allowing 32.3 shots per game here. Actually, the Los Angeles Kings are first at 28.2 shots per game here. And then when it comes to face-off win percentage here, the Calgary Flames are 28th as a team here at 48.6%, 25th in the league here. And it's the Philadelphia Flyers that have the best face-off win percentage at 54.7% here. So that's basically the statistical side of the story here. So let's look ahead here, which will be the first 6 games in 2020 here, and we get into the second half of the season here. Well, the game 43, this will be on Thursday, January the 2nd here, as the Calgary Flames will be taking on the New York Rangers. This will be at home at the Scotiabank Saddledome. That'll be a 7 p.m. puck drop here. Then game 44, this will be on Sunday, January the 5th here, as the Calgary Flames will be taking on the Minnesota Wild in Minnesota here at the XL Energy Center. That's a 5 p.m. puck drop here. And then on game 45, this will be on Tuesday, January the 7th here. We will be taking on the Chicago Blackhawks again at home in Chicago, actually. That'll be a 6:30 puck drop at the United Center here. And then on game 46, on Thursday, January 9th here, the Calgary Flames will be taking on the Minnesota Wild again, but this time at home at the Scotiabank Saddledome here. That'll be a 7 p.m. puck drop here. And then game 47, this will be on Saturday, January 11th here. The Calgary Flames will be taking on the Edmonton Oilers at home on Hockey Night in Canada here. That'll be a 8 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome here. And then to wrap up, which will be episode 9 here. For game 48, this will be on Monday, January the 13th here. The Calgary Flames will be taking on the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal here. And that'll be a 5 p.m. puck drop here at the Bell Center here. So the Calgary Flames definitely have, well, I'm going to say looking at the schedule here, they got some games of playing some teams that are ahead of in the standings here. But we definitely should take advantage, especially those couple of games against the Minnesota Wild there, because they're definitely in the hunt as well. And they've been hanging around here, and as always, we always have that big game against the Edmonton Oilers here, as this Calgary will get their first look at the Battle of Alberta, especially with the former Oilers and Flames switching sides there. So that's my Calgary Flames of 6 to talk about what wrapped up 2019 here, and now we're entering into 2020 here. So as I say, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow along with that bell icon here. I mostly do this, Calgary sports, game recaps here. It's one of the things I do, but I also cover, Calgary sports with the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders here. I also do some personal vlogs, and sometimes try to do funny with attempted comedy here, and, I share moments that I capture on my smartphone. Let's say at sporting events or when I'm out, and heck, maybe the odd time I'll just talk politics here, recap about that. It's one of the minor things I do on my YouTube channel, and I'm still not going to change what I do as I head into 2020 here. So if it sounds like everything, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and go Flames go, and I'll see you in the next video here.